Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're having a look at what it is done means and why we say that it is already created. So within the manifesting community, the term it is done and it is already created means that it is actually existing right now in this present moment. So when we actually get the download of what it is that we desire, it is actually created in that moment, because we are only ever living from the present moment. So when we are living from the present moment and we are genuinely in that moment, there is no time, there is no distance, there is no space, there is just that present moment. Now, why we may not see it when we, let's for example, open our eyes and we don't see it in our three-dimensional reality, is because we are operating in a three-dimensional reality where time does exist and where distance does exist. So what this means is when we are walking through our day, or we have to go from A to B, we do have to move through our 3D reality. And because we have learned the idea of distance and the idea of time, we are actually operating on this assumption and on this way of being. So when we are operating on this assumption and on this way of being, we know that there is a process, because we are three-dimensional beings living in a three-dimensional world. And when we actually think to ourselves that our desire is not here and that it doesn't exist, we are actually only separating ourselves more and more away from the desire. So this is why it's important for us to get back into the present moment, because the reason why everything exists in the present moment is because when we are fully truly in the present moment, you will know yourself that anything that you do that is maybe of joy, of excitement, maybe it's a project that you're doing that just takes all of your focus, and when you look up, you have no idea of time, you don't know what the time is, you don't know, there's no even idea of space or anything around you other than the one thing that you are focusing on, because you are so in the moment. And that is exactly what we are doing when we are manifesting, and why we continue to saturate our mind with what it is that we desire to experience in order for it to come to us in our reality. And the moment then that we kind of fall back into the old story of this isn't working, it's not here right now, that is just separating us from our desire in that moment, which can cause more time delay because of the time and distance that we have to move through in our 3D reality in order to live our life as a human being. So when we are wanting to manifest a particular desire into our life and we want it to come to us in a quicker amount of time, we have to get really, really focused into ourselves, into the present moment. Yes, but this is the reason why I talk about self-regulation the most. And I really believe that when we actually come from the idea of our self-concept more, because everything is coming from within, we actually operate more in the present moment when we are more filled up with our own identity of feeling love and feeling whole and complete and stable within ourselves first. So when we do the self-regulation and we use all these tools to bring ourselves back into the present moment, the more that we continue to do that, we are actually, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, teaching our mind and our body to operate in a reality where you could say that time and space does not exist, where your actual desire is, where your future of whatever it is that you are wanting to create is. Because when the more that you continue to teach your mind and your body into this new reality, you are actually, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says again, falling more in love with your future than you are allowing yourself to memorize the past or bring the past or the future into the present moment. Because when we look at our 3D reality, time is always linear, meaning that it is linear from the past. It's coming from the memories of the past. Even this moment to moment basis, if we think back in just 1 second, that is essentially coming from the past, from everything that we have learned. And then if we are anticipating the future, that is actually linear as well too, because we are separating ourselves from that present moment of pure consciousness, of excitement, gratitude, love, and wholeness, and feeling just so grateful for that moment in time, because you are feeling your desire in that moment in time. The more that you do techniques, or the more that you affirm for what it is that you want. So the reason why we actually look at our 3D reality and we ask ourselves, oh, what do I need to believe about myself in order to experience what it is that I want to experience, is because it is an opportunity for us to grow, to grow higher, to elevate quicker on our journey in order to experience what it is that we want on a moment to moment basis, meaning that we can maintain and sustain the reality that we want as we manifest it into our world. So working on our beliefs is a part of our development on this process through our manifestation journey. So when we are actually consciously creating and we are, manifesting things into our reality, understanding that there is a time distance in this 3D reality that we have to move through. It's like even when we are getting the idea to go down to the shop, or we're getting the idea to go on a holiday, there is a time and a distance that we are knowing about in order for us to get to a destination, because that is how we have learned to live in this three-dimensional world. And so in order for us to actually manifest instantly is to allow ourselves to be more in the present moment. And the more that we get into the present moment is through our excitement, through filling ourselves up with love, to knowing that everything is really coming from within. And you could say then that there is nothing existing outside of us, because it is simply just our perception of everything that we actually believe to be true, that we take in through our senses. So if it is only a perception of what we believe to be true that we are taking in through our senses, means that we can recreate it in another way of being. So if we are taking let's say, for example, we're manifesting and it's taken us a long time to manifest something into a reality. It's understanding that the moment that we actually have a desire, it is created. And there is no way of, you can never give up on this desire, because even if you decide not to continue to consciously create it, it'll manifest sometime down the road, because it's a desire that came from within you. And if you're the only one in this whole universe where you are experiencing everyone and everything through your beliefs, it means that there's nothing that you can ever give up. There's nothing you can ever let go, because it's all existing right now in this moment. The only reason why it doesn't come in then to our reality in a certain amount of time is either because there's actually a perfect time for it to come in, and so you are actually needing a little bit more time maybe to grow or to learn maybe about yourself, but most of the time it's really because we separate ourselves through anxiety of not seeing it, or the stress of having to continue to discipline ourselves, and all of this causes us then to separate ourselves from the desire, because we're seeing it as something outside of us. So if we are seeing our desire as something that is separate from us, we're going to continue to actually manifest it being separate, because we'll continue to maybe not see it in our reality, or we'll continue to feel stressed or anxiety, and maybe we get these negative assumptions that come in, and it's all actually not even, it's not even true, because your desire is actually within you. It's the unified field, as they call it in quantum physics. It's the unity of everything. So in the quantum field, everything is unified, meaning that it all exists there in the present moment. And that is why there's no time or no space or anything, because everything just comes instantly when you are in that pure consciousness way of being. So I wanted to make a video on that. I hope that helps for anyone who is manifesting something. Maybe it's taking a little bit of time. Understand that the time is irrelevant, because what you are actually creating is already there, it exists. And the only way that we separate ourselves, as I say, is through our negative assumptions and our disbelief in ourselves and in the actual desire. We're seeing the desire as something separate, something that we have to try to get, something that we have to attain to get, when all along it's within us, and all we have to do is cultivate the love, the gratitude, and all of this, wholesome completeness within ourselves, the stability within ourselves. And I want to say as well too that it doesn't mean that we're always going to be high flying and positive 24/7. That's not what it is about. It's actually coming into yourself so authentic within yourself that it doesn't matter if you're not in the state of the wish fulfilled, because you're so authentically yourself through love. There's no judgment, no nothing. You're just in that kind of pure conscious state that it is just normal for you to manifest exactly what it is that you are wanting to attract and create in your life. So I thought I'd make a video on that. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, and I will chat to you soon.